Episode 57 BP January 11th, 2025 5B in Germany. Musk is trying to break Germany's AfD quarantine. In episode 57 BP 1 United States 2 California wildfires 3 United Kingdom and Australia clean air night is January 25th, 2025 4 Belgium Ghent versus the Belgium Please Don't Eat Your Christmas Tree 5A Germany RAWSEP view as an example for the United States in 2025 for what not to allow to happen Hitler in Germany 1933 5B Germany. Musk is trying to break Germany's quarantine on the far-right. AfD political leaders have shunned the alternative for Germany, but on his social media platform, Musk is pitching the party as mainstream main content. 1A United States-US efforts to cut emissions stalled in 2024 as Power Demand Surged Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against with smoke emission particulates. A 501c3 non-profit organization, after staying flat for nearly 2 decades, electricity use is starting to rise again, and the boom in wind and solar power hasn't kept pace. Construction of wind turbines for an offshore on the State Pier in New London, Connecticut in November. The nation's demand for electricity increased by roughly 3% in 2024. January 9th, 2025. 5:02 a.m. America's efforts to cut its climate change pollution stalled in 2024 with greenhouse gas emissions dropping just a fraction 0.2% compared to the year before, according to estimates published Thursday by the Rhodium Group, a research firm. Despite continued rapid growth in solar and wind power, emissions levels stayed relatively flat last year because demand for electricity surged nationwide, which led to a spike in the amount of natural gas burned by power plants. The fact that emissions didn't decline much means the United States is even further off track from hitting President Biden's goal of slashing greenhouse gases 50% below 2005 levels by 2030. Several experts have estimated that greenhouse gases generated in the United States could start dropping sharply in the years ahead if many clean energy policies stay in place, particularly the 2022 Inflation Reduction Act that pumped hundreds of billions of dollars into low-carbon energy technologies such as electric vehicles, wind turbines, solar panels, nuclear reactors, green hydrogen, and batteries. While Trump has pledged to scrap many of Biden's subsidies and tax credits for electric vehicles and low-carbon energy, it remains to be seen whether Congress will agree. That law has not yet had a major impact on the country's emissions since it takes time for new factories to open and power plants to get built, but he said data shows that low-carbon energy and transportation now make up fully 5% of total U.S. private investment. That's a leading indicator that things are changing quickly. 1B United States highlights from Trump's sentencing in his New York criminal case. RAWSEP view Trump is more unfit on paper now as a felon to be president. Trump's statements which show his intent to act against the national security of the United States, such as in Ukraine, also make him unfit in many other ways. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against with smoke emission particulates. A 501c3 non-profit organization. The president-elect received an unconditional discharge of his sentence, which spares him jail time, but formalizes his status as AF. He will be the first to carry that distinction into the White House. January 10th, 2025. Updated 2:15 p.m. Trump, who appeared virtually at his sentencing, was convicted last year of 34 counts of falsifying business records to cover up a sex scandal that threatened to derail his 2016 campaign. Here's the latest on Trump's sentencing after months of delay. President-elect J. Trump's New York criminal case culminated on Friday with the nation's former and future president avoiding jail but becoming AF this month. Trump's lawyers filed repeated requests in New York State Court to halt the proceeding, all of which failed, leading him to seek an emergency reprieve from the U.S. Supreme Court, but the High Court on Thursday denied Trump's request, a surprising show of independence from a court that has appeared sympathetic to Trump in other cases. 2A California doctors, nurses press ahead as wildfires strain Los Angeles' healthcare. RAWSEP view: it is truly in dire situation when even hospitals are shut down by the wood smoke and encroaching fires in California. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. A 501c3 non-profit organization. Los Angeles Times, January 10th, 2025. Patients are evacuated from the Brighton Care Center during the Eaton fire in Pasadena, California on January 8th. The rapidly spreading wildfires that have transformed much of Los Angeles County into a raging hellscape are not only upending the lives of tens of thousands of residents and business owners, but also stressing the region's hospitals, health clinics, first responders, and nursing homes. At least one medical clinic burned down. Senior patients were evacuated by ambulance from nursing facilities as embers swirled around them, and their providers' medical offices have closed and routine appointments have been canceled. Some providers have lost homes or had to evacuate their neighborhoods, keeping them from work in many cases and making it a challenge for some healthcare centers to maintain sufficient staffing. Routine medical care will likely be disrupted for thousands in the days ahead. Kaiser Permanente, the giant HMO and medical provider, said it closed multiple medical sites Thursday due to the fires, including a pharmacy and laboratory and an eye clinic. Huntington Hospital in Pasadena, close to the Eaton fire, said some of its outpatient offices were affected by evacuation notices and heavy smoke. Dignity Health, another large health system, said some of its hospitals were operating on generator power due to high winds, and some, including Glendale Memorial Hospital, had canceled elective surgeries. Other hospitals, including USC Verdugo Hills and Providence St. John's, temporarily halted non-emergency surgeries due to the impact of the wildfires. This article was produced by KFF Health News, which publishes California Healthline, an editorially independent service of the California Healthcare Foundation. 2B California on January 8th, President Biden approved a major disaster declaration for California, allowing impacted communities and survivors to immediately access funds and resources to jumpstart their recovery. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. A 501c3 non-profit organization. Additionally, FEMA has approved fire management assistance grants to reimburse California for firefighting costs. Last night, President Biden also joined Governor Newsom, state, local, and federal officials for an in-person briefing on the Los Angeles wildfires. The White House has also released a fact sheet on the Biden-Harris administration supporting robust response efforts to California wildfires. 2C California Mother Jones newsletter, January 10th. 2025 wildfires continue to rage across Los Angeles as firefighters brace for a return of the same Santa Ana winds that could further devastate the region. RAWSEP view in this article: goats are suggested as an alternative to controlled burns, and open eaves are suggested to spare your home from being ignited by wildfire embers. RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. A 501c3 nonprofit Organization with these fires controlled burning would likely have had no impact whatsoever. With forests in California, we've caused fuels, shrubs, leaves, and other plant material to accumulate, so we have to do prescription burning to keep those fuels down. I'm very much an advocate of burning in these forests. But when you get to Southern California and Chaparral, it's totally different. Fires, first off, were never very frequent there, and with more people in the landscape starting more and more fires, we have no unusual fuel accumulation, and so doing prescription burning isn't going to change the fuel structure. Firefighters do need space to fight a fire, so doing fuel treatments around homes makes sense if you want to defend homes. However, prescription burning can be dangerous in Southern California, so officials often use animals like goats to reduce the fuels instead of controlled burns. There's a lot that homeowners can do in terms of what is called hardening your home, basically making it more fire safe. For example, just the types of vents in your roof can have a big impact. A lot of construction is done with open eaves with attic vents parallel to the ground, so when the embers are blown, they blow right in and ignite the home. But the home I live in now, we have closed eaves where the vents are covered and point down towards the ground, so there's less chance for embers to get in the attic. 2D California, August 2024. The New York Times. In August 2020, hundreds of wildfires burned across California, and thick smoke billowed through the sky for weeks, causing a record-setting 30-day streak of consecutive air quality warnings in the Bay Area. RAWSEP view. The standard advice to near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners is for near neighbors to stay inside their sealed home with multiple air purifiers running, and this advice is repeated for people nearby wildfires. 2 other pieces of advice in this article are to avoid exercising outdoors and to wear an N95 mask if outdoors. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission. Particulates. A 501c3 nonprofit organization. Doctors in Northern California reported a 43% increase in strokes and other cardiovascular issues during that time. Hospital admissions rose by 12%. Some researchers estimated that the smoke may have been a factor in thousands of deaths. Environmental scientists believe that wildfires pose a risk to health long after a fire stops burning, but there are many factors they still don't fully understand, like exactly how smoke moves through the body or how exposure to it might affect human health long after the haze clears. Most of what scientists know so far comes from correlational studies, which can reveal potential links between smoke exposure and health outcomes, but can't show cause and effect. These types of studies have linked wildfire smoke exposure to a higher risk of heart attack, strokes, complications with pregnancy and childbirth, mental health issues, and some cancers. Research on cells and in lab animals such as mice and monkeys suggests that smoke disrupts the cells responsible for managing our immune responses. 3 United Kingdom and Australia clean air night is January 25th, 2025. For Belgium, Ghent versus the Belgium. Please don't eat your Christmas tree. Belgium urges the public. RAWSEP view. What are seen as traditions are not always even traditions. Traditions can also be bad for your health. Many traditions accepted in the past should be scuttled, like scuttling indoor residential wood burning. Just do not burn wood to begin with. Your lungs will thank you. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission. Particulates. A 501c3 nonprofit organization, the Belgium Food Agency, warned against using evergreens in food after the city of Ghent suggested an unusual form of recycling spruce needle butter. The city of Ghent in Belgium reported. From London, the reporter bought a potted holiday tree this year which she plans to water but not eat. January 8th, 2025. Go ahead and recycle your Christmas tree, but please, the Belgian authorities say, don't try to eat it. The country's federal food agency delivered that unusual warning this week after a suggestion from the climate-friendly city of Ghent. If you're trying to cut down on holiday food waste, the city of Ghent recently said on an environment page of its website, why not make spruce needle butter with the leftover needles from your holiday tree? The city acknowledged that there could be health dangers. An evergreen can be poisonous. Trees treated with pesticides and fire retardants are also hazardous. Ghent credited Scandinavian cooks with the idea of picking the needles, boiling and drying them, and then turning them into flavored butter in Scandinavia. The city wrote they have been doing it for a long time. That turned out to be not quite true. Scandinavian food historians said it was far from a widespread tradition in Belgium's food agency quickly urged the public against such a gastronomic experiment. A Danish food historian had only heard of home cooks in Denmark eating their own holiday trees in dire times, like during World War II. Cookbooks from the time suggested that people sometimes used Christmas trees for tea during food shortages. It's not a tradition to eat your Christmas tree in Scandinavia. 5A Germany. RAWSEP view as an example for the United States in 2025 for what not to allow to happen. Hitler in Germany 1933. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission. Particulates. A 501c3 nonprofit organization. The Atlantic. How Hitler dismantled a democracy in 53 days. He used the Constitution to shatter the Constitution. Adolf Hitler and his cabinet. January 30th, 1933. The day he became Chancellor of Germany. January 8th, 2025. 92 years ago this month, on Monday morning, January 30th, 1933, Adolf Hitler was appointed the 15th Chancellor of the Weimar Republic in one of the most astonishing political transformations in the history of democracy. Hitler set about destroying a constitutional republic through constitutional means. What follows is a step-by-step account of how Hitler systematically disabled and then dismantled his country's democratic structures and processes in less than 2 months' time. Specifically 1 month, 3 weeks, 2 days, 8 hours, and 40 minutes. The minutes, as we will see, mattered. Hans Frank served as Hitler's private attorney and chief legal strategist in the early years of the Nazi movement, while later awaiting execution at Nuremberg for his complicity in Nazi atrocities. Frank commented on his client's uncanny capacity for sensing the potential weakness inherent in every formal form of law and then ruthlessly exploiting that weakness. Following his failed beer hall putsch of November 1923, Hitler had renounced trying to overthrow the Weimar Republic by violent means, but not his commitment to destroying the country's democratic system, a determination he reiterated in a legalitatio legality oath before the Constitutional Court in September 1930, invoking Article 1 of the Weimar Constitution, which stated that the government was an expression of the will of the people. 5B Germany. Musk is trying to break Germany's quarantine on the far-right. AfD political leaders have shunned the alternative for Germany, but on his social media platform X, Musk is pitching the party as mainstream. Musk is hosting an interview with Alice Weidel, the leader of the far-right far-right party Alternative for Germany on X, his social media platform RAWSEP notes the harsh criticisms of climate scientists and efforts to combat global warming by Naomi Seibt, who is affiliated with the AfD. Political positions denying scientific reality are antithetical to the goal of replacing indoor residential wood burning with the clean energy home heating solution of heat pumps that work down to 40 degrees below zero and lower electricity bills immediately, which are also economical with heat pump rebates based on a sliding income scale that are offered in many nations in 2025 RAWSEP key excerpts. In December, Musk reposted a video from Naomi Seibt, a 24-year-old German conservative social media star who has gained a large following on X and on YouTube through her harsh criticisms of climate scientists and efforts to combat global warming. She is also close with the AfD and appears to have helped sway Musk to support the party. Only the AfD can save Germany, Musk wrote in an interview with the American conservative this week. Ms. Weidel praised Trump, but she suggested that Germans have become slaves to the United States, including aiding America in wars over the last 30 years. RAWSEP view Musk using two female AfD-affiliated women to propagandize for a neo-Nazi organization in Germany is being done despite that party leading a strike at the Musk Tesla plant in Berlin. The AfD has famously fought back against the construction of a factory in Germany for Tesla. Musk allegiance to Trump might trump Musk interest in making more money Musk does not need in Germany, or because the Tesla plant is open for business in Berlin despite the efforts of the AfD. Perhaps Musk is hoping for future AfD turnaround and support of his Tesla plant. How are other German parties and the European Union reacting to AfD and Musk publicity efforts? RAWSEP top excerpts. In a 2016 speech with the AfD gaining steam before federal elections, former Chancellor Angela Merkel urged all German parties to unite against the AfD. It was, she said, not just a problem for her own conservative party but a challenge for all of us gathered in this house. The anti-AfD collective has not broken since the European Commission has said it will examine Musk's interference in European politics, given his enormous power through his ownership of X and his close ties to the incoming American president. Europe's center-left political parties, including Germany's Social Democrats SDP, have jointly released a statement urging the European Commission in Brussels to use all the legal means available to protect democracy against misinformation and foreign interference on social media. German leaders have alternately criticized Musk and tried to ignore him. In an interview this week, Chancellor Olaf Scholz dismissed the billionaire's efforts to sway German voters. I do not believe in courting Musk's favor, he said when dealing with social media posts. He added in English, his rule is don't feed the troll. How is the average German voter and average European voter viewing the Musk efforts for AfD? German voters appear not to be swayed, at least for now. 3/4 of respondents to a German broadcaster's poll said it was inappropriate for Musk to comment on German politics, but the same poll showed a majority of respondents believe that Musk's efforts would help the AfD in the election. Europeans for whom the relationship with the United States is civilizational and existential are paralyzed by the increasingly incendiary statements of Trump and Musk. They hope that these are just words. RAWSEP view why is the AfD treated differently than other German parties? At least one AfD leader uses Nazi slogans. AfD is under surveillance by domestic intelligence, confirmed right-wing extremism. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission. Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. The New York Times reporting from Berlin, January 9, 2025. 8:23 a.m. Eastern Time. Musk is attempting to break a political blockade that has kept the nation's most prominent far-right party out of government, even as it has gained strength with voters. Musk will be the host of a live interview on Thursday, January 9, 2025 with Alice Weidel, who is the Chancellor candidate for the Alternative for Germany AfD in the Germany snap election scheduled for February 23. Musk is offering the AfD publicity that it has been denied in German public life. The AfD has risen to the second position in German national polls, backed by about a fifth of the electorate. It has gained support with an anti-establishment campaign. Parties in Europe like the Brothers of Italy and Austria's Freedom Party have risen to federal power, but in Germany still haunted by its Nazi past. No other party will work with the AfD. Candidates from AfD complain they receive less airtime than other candidates on the nation's political talk shows. One AfD leader has been repeatedly penalized by German courts for repeating banned Nazi slogans. The party is under observation by domestic intelligence. 3 of its state chapters, as well as its entire youth wing, are classified as confirmed right extremist, a designation that intelligence services make after extensive observation. More than 100 employees working for AfD members of parliament are also confirmed right extremists, according to an investigation by a public broadcaster.